Jeff, how are you?
Darren, I am stellar. I am over the moon, on fire, excited about today.
Me too. And this is one of the most momentous days in our lives, certainly, but I'm going to say in human history, because this is the first day of the Right Next Door podcast. And people have their lives and their worries and death and taxes and money and relationships and children. But what we're dealing with, the topic of the Right Next Door podcast, is there anything more important, Jeff?
There is not. We deal with the most heady, close to home hitting issues that one could ever imagine, and I'd
Those
like to think
are
we're
our neighbors.
our neighbors, right? And we're doing a service, if you will,
Yes.
tackling these issues, diffusing highly volatile situations.
Or inserting conflict and anger where there wasn't when it wasn't there before. If we're
Yes,
doing our job right.
yes,
But these,
that we are doing that.
I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but neighbors can sometimes be more important than they should be.
That is true. Yes, the neighbor, especially a bad one,
A bad
becomes
neighbor, a bad
more
neighbor.
important than your favorite TV show or your favorite meal. It just they get under your skin, and
They're ever present, they're noisy, they're just a few yards away or a few feet away or in the yard next door or on the other side of your apartment wall or upstairs or downstairs. They're in your head, they're on your lawn. And that's why this podcast is so important. That's why this first episode has so much weight, has so much behind it. And that's why I'm so excited about the very first topic of our very first podcast. And that first topic is
it is chickens, Darren.
Dirty deeds, triggered tirades, busybodies, and missing cats. They say tall fences make good neighbors, but bad neighbors make the Right Next Door podcast.
so chickens right next door. This is a big, big deal in suburban Chicago right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally taken aback by this topic because I can't even believe that like some towns have actually approved this. Because to me, it just seems nuts if you're in a residential area.
And a beautiful area. You paid for your house, you have your family, you have your children, you have your pets, and then right next door you have someone that just, by God, I'm going to have chickens because I can't expend the effort to go to the grocery store and because where did those eggs come from? Those eggs that I've been eating for my entire life as a human on earth. I mean, how do I know? I need my own eggs. I need them. I need to catch them in my cupped hand, warm from the bird. Is that what I want?
Well, that's not what I want, and not necessarily what you want, but there are a few that do want that. And
Jeff, can you do that? Can you actually, if you're raising chickens for the eggs or for the meat? People raise all kinds of. But
let me clear the air on some of this because you can't slaughter the chickens.
You can't clear the air when we're talking about chickens. Clearing the air is a tall order. You can't wait. You can't slaughter the chickens.
No, the ordinances that I have read, you cannot. They're not raised for meat. They're raised for eggs and educational purposes for the youngsters.
So
and there's
pets.
also no rooster, so you can't
Can't
breed
have
them.
a rooster.
No rooster, so you don't have to worry about the rooster waking up.
So these
in
are
the
lonely chickens. These are lonely chickens without male companionship, and I guess the homeowner has to fill that role in some way. That I'm not going to draw a picture for you here, Jeff. But how do you be the rooster to your lonely chicken? How do you, Jeff?
Well, first of all, I only deal with dead chickens.
Oh, okay.
Because they make great barbecue chicken and they make great chicken marsala. I like.
But your neighbors are not dealing with dead chickens. Their chickens have to be immortal. They have to produce. They have to live long, happy lives, and then expire gently in their sleep. That's what these chickens need to do? Because if they misbehave or stop laying, there's nothing we can do. The chickens. Or maybe we take them out, you put them in the car. Hey, Daddy, where are you going with the chicken? Hey, Timmy, don't worry. I'm just taking the chicken out for a ride. Okay, well, bye, Dad. Bye, Clucky. We'll see. And then you take the chicken out to a forest preserve somewhere. Go free, little chicken. Go free.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's exactly what's happening. So I didn't know this about chickens. The chicken laying years are about 1 to 4. You got a good egg laying chicken.
But how long do chickens live?
Well, until you eat them. But
no, but you can't eat them. You're saying okay. So
no, I know. Well, I mean normally, but yeah. So there's a life cycle on the chicken's ability to lay eggs.
Yeah.
And what I've read is that people, after they stop laying eggs, they abandon their chickens in the forest preserve and stuff. So these poor little chickens that are used to being in their warm and cozy little hut in the yard are now fending for themselves with the coyotes and wolves.
So if this wasn't a podcast and there was a visual component, we'd have a cartoon coyote at this point, and instead of a roadrunner, it'd be a very slow chicken,
right? Very
not
slow
running
chicken
very far from the, and so
who's got emotional issues because they can no longer lay eggs, and so they feel used and discarded.
This seems cruel. You know, why have a chicken? Why start the chicken on this life of comfort? Although, we're not even going to get into the cruelty of the egg-laying industry or the chicken industry or the poultry industry. We're talking about, this is a Right Next Door podcast. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I don't have a huge factory farm chicken producer right next door to me.
I do not either. I mean, we just go to the farmer's market in the summer, and then we buy the organic eggs through the rest of the year. And it's not like we're paying, it's not like they're exorbitantly expensive. So
Jeff, where they
seems to
putting
be
these
raising up would be
these
a nightmare.
chickens right next door, so they're in the yard. They just have maybe a little fenced area, a little gentle area where the neighborhood children can pet the chickens, like a little bit of what do they call it, chicken wire around an enclosure. And so the lovely little birds are in that, right? Is that where the chickens are?
There's I guess every town has their own ordinances, right?
Yeah,
but, some of them say the chicken coop only has to be 3 feet from the lot line. That's too close.
You just said chicken coop. What constitutes?
Well, you have to make a.
You also said earlier co-op. So co-op and coop.
A chicken co-op coop. So you have to build a structure, and there's rules for how high and how wide and all that. But it can be 3 feet from the property line. And if you're in a, let's just say, Chicago neighborhood, bungalow, your neighbor, the soffit of your house is about 3 feet from the soffit of your neighbor's house. So you essentially have the chickens practically in your own yard.
They're in the yard. They're on the other side of the wall. And these coops. Now, so we've already talked about we want our chickens to have as long a life, a comfortable, long, pleasant, peaceful life, because we want them to lay eggs as long as they can. So these coops have to be pretty comfortable. We're going to make them, they're going to be structures. There's going to be indoor plumbing. There's going to be a heating element. There's going to be pictures of roosters, because we can't actually have roosters. They're going to be, we're going to give them pinups of roosters.
They keep the ladies happy.
Yes.
While they're working, they have to have something to look at.
So these coops are pretty deluxe, I'm figuring.
I looked up some of them. Like the cheapest ones run around $1,000 for one of these pre-made coops.
Wait.
And that doesn't include the fencing and your heating elements. It's just the prefab coop.
I don't know about your neighborhood, Jeff, but for $1,000, I'm going to guess I could buy, well, at least 1,000 eggs.
I was going to say the price of your omelets just skyrocketed just in the chicken coop. I have no idea what a live chicken costs to purchase, let alone where to buy one.
And then you have to hire.
Inexpensive.
And then if you want to, and then you can't use it for meat. And if you did want to use it for meat, you can't be the person that kills it. You have to hire someone to kill it.
You'd probably have to take it to your butcher or something, or like, a skeet shooting range, and then just yell pull, throw out the chicken and
pull it.
Pull.
Right.
Wait, that chicken doesn't fly. What's going on?
Oh no. We're in Chicago. I bet you could find someone to kill your chicken in Chicago.
I think you probably could hire a guy or a guy that knows a guy. And that would be the end of your chicken. But then
there's a guy. Oh, yes, my friend. Oh, you have a problem with chickens. You have too many chickens? Let me talk to you. Let me deal with your chickens. You don't need to know anymore. This is my price. How many chickens do you want to have left after I visit? And we are done here. Yes, yes.
Right. Do you want me to talk them into laying more eggs, or just are we?
Yeah, what am I talking to your chickens about? Do I want to urge some? It'd be sad if you had to come to an untimely end on your own, or if you needed some help. How about you just keep laying those eggs,
Right.
and we all get along?
I hear you can't lay the eggs anymore. What?
I hear
what's up with that?
someone told me, a little bird told me, that you can't lay eggs anymore.
But how does that impact the kids? Like, let's just say,
Yeah.
All right. So if the second prong of this argument for the pro chicken people in my yard,
I'm thinking of the prong and the chickens, and okay.
So if the kids are attached to the chickens,
Yeah,
and they're only gonna lay eggs for 4 years,
yeah.
what happens then?
Well, and this is supposed to be an educational thing for chicken. Like we need to teach our children about food and life and sudden irreversible death with using the chickens as a object lesson of how those things occur.
All that can be seen on YouTube. There's no need for doing it live in person, is there?
Well, but you don't bring your children. Hey, gather around. Here's a YouTube video. Timmy, Kathy, I want you to watch this video for a second. Your dad and I are going to wait in the other room.
Here's how an egg is birthed. It's like a black and white movie from the 1950s.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would think it'd be fairly traumatic for the little ones. They're going to get attached to the chickens. And look, the other problem, a lot of metropolitan areas have issues already with wildlife. Like, there's coyotes running around, there's foxes running around.
You mentioned the forest preserve. The coyotes in suburbs of Chicago don't stay in the forest preserves. They come into your yard. So if you have chickens, maybe if you don't want a coyote in your yard, maybe you shouldn't have chickens there, Jeff. Am I right about that?
I would think you're ringing the dinner bell for every carnivorous animal out there. So how do you protect your chickens?
Do feral cats like chicken?
You know what? I don't know, but I would not be surprised if, because cats like to just terrorize other animals. So even if they didn't eat them, they would just be batting them around.
And so that's a traumatized hen. And because it's traumatized, it's not laying eggs. It's got to take a trip to the forest preserve to meet Mr. Coyote, and I'm assuming Mrs. Coyote could probably eat chickens as well as anyone.
Right. So it just doesn't seem between that. So you've got the predator issue.
Yeah.
Then you've got
the cost, the smell.
The smell in the summer has got to be ridiculous.
God. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Because most of the ordinances I read, you can have up to 6 chickens.
Wait a minute. How many chickens?
6. So it's not like you just have one little chickie or 2 little chickies. You could have 6 of them running around your yard.
So if you're trying not to traumatize your children, maybe you have 6 chickens and only 2 of them disappear. Well, where'd they go? Oh, they have some other friends who are chickens over here, Timmy, Kathy. Don't worry about the... So if you're going to reduce the population of your chickens, you don't want to traumatize your children, or you know what, just don't get chickens. What is it, this back to nature? The people that are thinking about having chickens have not thought this through the way you and I have today.
I believe they have not. I concur. Picture a 95-degree day.
Yeah.
You have 6 chickens in a
6
coop.
Chickens. Yeah.
With the
generating
chicken poop, poop, stagnant water. You got chicken feed all over the place. So you got other critters coming just to get the chicken feed. And you're checking. We got Mr. Squirrel, Mr. Chipmunk, Mr.
Cockroach,
Raccoon,
Mr. Cockroach,
Mr. Cockroach, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's just like you've got a myriad of issues when all you have to do is go to the store and buy some brown organic eggs.
But what about my freedoms, Jeff? You can't tell me I can't raise chickens. I have the freedom to have any creature. Maybe I want to raise coyotes. Maybe I want to raise chickens and coyotes together. Maybe I want to teach them to get along for the first time in my yard. And what are you going to do? You're going to stop me from that? There's some ordinance that's going to stop me?
Wait a minute. The next thing you're going to tell me is you're building an ark and you're going to be bringing all the animals on your boat?
It's been rainy around here for a while, Jeff. It's been very rainy
and cold. Yeah, I look. I think we have to draw the line at barnyard animals in an urban environment. I mean, how bad do you need an organic egg that you make yourself? I mean, can't we just stick to tomato plants and cabbage?
I want some of our neighbors who are growing chickens, raising chickens. I'd love to hear from some of our listeners who are chicken people or right next door to chicken people. Why on earth are you bringing chickens into your neighborhood and right next door to people that you want to be able to get along with, assumedly for years to come, because you have a mortgage, you have a piece of property. Why are you doing this? Write us and let us know.
Yeah, I would really like to know, because could you imagine if you're trying to sell your home and right next door, it's like the realtor's like, oh, here's the yard. Pay no attention to the chicken coop and all the clucking going on next door. Nothing to see there. Let's go inside and look at the kitchen.
What the cluck?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
How would you even explain that to a potential buyer?
I need to show you this home with the fecal chicken matter smell. And then we're going to be looking at 3 or 4 other homes. I'm going to say they're going to be a range of smells at this point. That's what this real estate trip is about. We're going to show you various, and your smell tolerance is what we're going to be dealing with on the visit today. And so I need you to put a sincere investment down on a piece of property and ignore all odors.
Yeah, I would think that would not be advantageous to the seller.
You know, Jeff, if you're like me, like chickens, that's not going to fly.
That is not going to fly, Dee. That is a great, absolutely. You're 100% correct. Because it's hard enough trying to purchase a house with your wife, right? Because the wife goes in, and it doesn't matter what it is. Walls have to come down. Oh, maybe if we punched a hole here and we could paint that and we could change out. Have you ever walked into a potential property with your significant other and they did not want to? They just said, "Hey, this is great. Let's move in."
This is great. Yeah, I think, honey, I'm okay. We maybe paint that wall, kill all the chickens, and I'm ready to move in. I'll help you kill the chickens. We'll paint that wall. We'll strangle the chickens. We'll drown the chickens. We'll take all the chickens to the forest preserve. I'll help you with that, and then we'll paint that wall together, and then we'll move in.
Well, and it's an interesting. The other thing too is, okay, given the level of crime in the city of Chicago these days,
yeah,
I don't know what the value of a live chicken is.
Yeah.
But if the chicken coop costs $1,000, I'm guessing the live birds are not cheap.
So you're talking about human chicken rustlers as a problem.
We're going to be attracting chicken rustlers who will nab your chickens in the dark of night.
There's all kinds of violence in any big city or any small city. There's all kinds of violence to watch out for. But encouraging rustling, I mean, just like you wouldn't have a bunch of prize stallions right next door, because there are people that are going to try to
come and take them. It's like a tunnel vision thing. I want fresh eggs. I need chicken. I want my village, town, city to pass this ordinance. Give me my chickens.
I want to know where my eggs come from, and I want to know so much. I want to know so badly that I'm going to put my entire neighborhood at risk, my personal health, because diseases from the poop. It's really a dangerous thing, and children are also always so careful about avoiding any kind of disease area with their little hands and feet. So.
And we all know chickens have salmonella. So, I mean, I'm just exhausted.
You have a neighbor who's driving you crazy. Tell us about it. Right Next Door Podcast at gmail.com. The Right Next Door Podcast is an unscripted production of Eversharp Media, which takes a satirical look at local news coverage and social media. The material, views, and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the talent, guests, or the production company. Celebrity voices impersonated, including this one.